All right. Hi, everyone. Happy Africa Day. Welcome to this amazing session with um, the co-project lead for Restart Ireland, Ruth, and myself, Mamobo Ogoro. So we are working with Durris and Limerick County Council and Girl Media to produce this wonderful event, a cooking demonstration by Ruth, and she's going to be cooking some amazing meals. I can see that she's chopping there today. So again, I'm just going to be kind of hosting this event. If you have any sort of questions that you have regarding the meal that Ruth is cooking, regarding anything like that, definitely pop that in the chat box. This is a very informal event where we're just going to be talking, engaging with each other, and really just learning the meal that Ruth is going to be cooking for us today. So Ruth, can you quickly introduce yourself and introduce what you'd be um gratefully cooking today, or even though we can't smell it or taste it, but
Hi everyone. I hope my camera does some wonders and it looks very appetizing and you'll be asking more about it. So my name is Kuleile Ruth Ndlovu and I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So today I'll be making chakalaka, pap, and beef with kale. I know most of you, or baby cabbage, most of you would use those to actually just create some sort of a smoothie out of kale, for instance. And some of you would never eat beans on a cooked meal. So it's something for you to learn and something for you to enjoy. So the main aim of this really is for you to, for us to do a bit of togetherness. And with that, it's under Restart. So I'm sorry, I'm blabbing it quite a lot. So this is under Restart. I'm a project founder of Restart, which aims to integrate people who live in direct provision into the Irish community through gardening and cooking. And we have been fortunate enough to get funding to help us do a cookbook. So these recipes that I'll be making today, they are part of our our book. So if you are interested, we're going to talk more about it later on while I'm doing the cooking. So I hope you enjoy this. And if you have any questions along the way, do ask me. Thank you.
thank you so much, Ruth. And that's a wonderful thing like that. So I can see you're chopping here. So what is the initial start process? Do you mind if can you speak while you chop, or the initial things that we do in terms of making chakalaka?
Okay, so first things first, you need to get your green veggies. So what I mean by green veggies, we need green pepper, red pepper, because I like it to be green a bit because carrot is yellow. So I also add the spring onion, but mostly it's just green pepper, red pepper, onion, um, and the yellow one. And you chop them all together, mix them together, and then grate the carrot. So while I'm grating the carrot, I don't know if the audience would like to, I don't know whether you have something planned to be doing at the moment. So I'm having this ready. I'm gonna heat up the oil while I'm grating the carrot. So it's gonna take just like about a minute or so. Those are the first initial steps for it. And you need the oil to be piping hot. And you're also going to need our Maggi.
So
Okay.
for the audience, what is Maggie?
Oh, sorry. Maggi is a seasoning. So most of the time, most people would use um, salt. I don't like salt because apparently it's not healthy and all stuff like that. But besides being salty or being trying to be healthy and all stuff like that, it's more likely about the taste, the flavor that this brings. It makes it brown, it makes it look nicer instead of just seeing the yellow or the orange of the carrot, you see. So this is going to change the color of the carrot and make it look a bit brown, okay?
Amazing.
So,
I know for myself, like I'm Nigerian, so
yes,
Maggie is like a staple. It's a staple in Nigerian cooking, and you can't really cook without it. So
you
Blessing
can.
says here that she was trying to get searching on Facebook, I was unable to find Restart. So I'll just send you a link there so we can find Restart on Facebook.
Okay.
So that's perfect. So while Ruth is just grating there, so she says that she's chopping the vegetables, getting the oil piping hot for frying. She's grating. I'm just going to be talking about some of the other events that we're going to be doing in collaboration with Darius and Germ and the County Council as well. So as you all know, as you're all aware, today is Africa Day, and it's in the celebration of the continent of Africa and the diversity within Africa as well. So we had decided to do a couple of events, this being one of them, just to celebrate the diversity within Africa too, and celebrate that within the Limerick sphere as well. So we created a quick poem, which I may demonstrate here, just to that was written by Isaac Kosivi, who is originally from Togo, and he's a Limerick-based poet and artist. So Isaac created a poem, which we kind of created into an online digital piece to exemplify the diversity within Africa itself. So I'm just going to quickly play that poem for you, and if there's any sort of comments and feedback that you have from it, that would be great.
Africa.
I am from the cradle of humanity.
A place where everyone is your family.
A place full of dignity that touches all with humility.
A place that does not know difference, only unity.
A place where multiple languages are spoken with unquestionable integrity.
A place built by proud warriors.
A place of kings and queens.
A place that has more than 10,000 tasting meals.
A place that has more than 1,000 colors.
A place that has more than 10,000 cultures.
That is diversity. Beni, Africa.
Oye, Ohema.
Mabuntle. Enigma.
Ubuntu.
Menfu, Africa.
Where are you from?
So let me pause that there. So that was just a brief, a poem that we kind of made. If there's any comments or feedback from anyone in the audience, that would be great in terms of that poem. But that was one of the things that we kind of created, and special thanks to Isaac for composing such a wonderful piece. And we really got the feedback. We got people from all different places around, all different countries in Africa to kind of help us with that poem and speak their own native languages as well, because there's an abundant amount of languages, cultures, ethnicities, and diversity within Africa itself. So one of my pet peeves anyway, when it comes to like Africa, is people kind of lumping Africa as like a whole and just saying Africa and that's it, where if you would say like Europe Day, people would be like, what? Europe is really diverse within itself. So that's what Isaac really exemplified in the poem as well, and showed just a few of the many different cultures and the many different ethnicities and diversity within Africa. So I'm just going to touch base with you, Ruth. How are we going with the vegetables and the frying? Oh, you're on mute.
I've heated out the oil, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna, if you notice, it's gonna be piping hot, okay? So that aims to actually, for it, you see, when you cook the carrot, it becomes watery, it produces a lot of water. So you need the oil to be extremely hot and put the stove on 6 so that it actually fries it more than just cook it, and the veggies as well, okay? So I'm gonna add those in there. And while I'm doing that, it's not an African home without a wooden spoon. When you use a metal on a metal, it just creates some awkwardness. So I'm gonna fry this, and then while it's frying or doing that, I'm going to be opening Maggi, okay? and adding it onto this. You see? This does not take really much of time. While I'm having that, I'm having my beef there boiling so that I can have it ready in a minute, okay?
Blessing
So
said
these are quite hard.
got me
These
laughing.
are quite hard to open, okay? So I just usually press them up, okay, so that they can, or I just put it on top of something and squash them, you know, because I want them, I don't want to just them as cubes. I want them to be fine, you know, when I put them in the pot. So it's quite hard. It's labor, everything is labor. It's nice. Today it feels really good to be reminded of who I am and where I come from, of my roots. All of this, if it was at home, most likely I'll be cooking this using fire, or if I'm in the rural side of it. I'm not saying Africa is that much out of modern, you know, but we cook things like this, or chakalaka most of the time when it's a wedding or when it's an event, you know, to create some different. We have this thing called seven color, but it's a South African thing. So that way it creates a bit of colors in the dish. So chakalaka, most of the time, most people get confused. Where do you serve it and how do you serve it? Really, the chakalaka it's something that you can have it with anything. You can have it with bread, you can have it with rice, you can have it with pap, which I'll be making in a bit. So yeah, it's pretty much everything. It can accommodate each and everything of it. So for you to make it a chakalaka, you really have to be creating a bit of chili taste in it. So I'm going to be adding a Nigerian chili. I call it Nigerian chili, or they call it pepper. This chili, the green one, the big one.
Yes.
So I'm going to be adding a bit of that to create that chili part of it, okay? Don't add too much if you're not a chili person. Don't add too much of it. This is already fried, so I'm going to reduce the stove, okay? Because it's now starting to burn a bit. And then I'm going to add the beans onto this.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm frozen or what.
What type of, I can see you. I can see. I know the peppers. My mom calls that a taro dough, and we're from Nigeria, so it's a common staple. It's simple. So what type of beans are you adding?
Baked beans, the breakfast beans.
Oh wow.
Yes. So most of you will be like, wait, it's only, how can you say baked beans? It's for breakfast. I'm like, no. Africans, we are so inventive. We create everything. We make everything work. So I drain a little bit of tomato sauce on it because sometimes I don't like it to be, and then you just add it to this. Oh, sorry.
So what tomato sauce is it?
So it's just baked beans, okay? And then I drain the sauce out of it, just a tiny little bit, just draining it so that it's not becoming too watery or too smooshy in the thing. So I'm not sure if you're able to see this, but this is how it looks. And that should be the final product of it, okay? So I'm going to reduce this to 3, okay? To 2 actually, because it's too hot. And then from there, I'm just going to let it sit for like a minute, okay?
Yeah.
And then I'll clear this pot. I can have some African music playing there. Maybe I'll be back.
That's so you're going to, okay. I'm just watching what you're doing. It looks very good and it looks very appetizing.
Oh,
And
thank
so
you.
do you just leave that to kind of like, what is it, set and cook, or
Which one?
what do you do now in terms of?
I'm just waiting for it to cook a bit, to mix the onions and the beans together so that it cooks for like a minute or 2. But I'm going to switch off the stove now, and then it's really done. That's it. I don't like tasting my food while I'm cooking because it doesn't give me appetite to eat after that. So really, I don't taste food. I know by the look of it that, oh, I cooked something very, very bad today, or I cooked
Yeah.
good, something very, very good. But really, it's pretty much, this is done. And I'm going to transfer it to a bowl and then put on the beef. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna remove this first, put it on some nice bowl, okay?
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you're able to see this.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So this is it.
Oh,
I'll
that's
bring it a
all
little
right.
bit closer. Yep. So this is the chakalaka. This is what we call chakalaka. And then you just put it in here. And I don't like burning pots, so I'm happy today.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So this is chakalaka.
Awesome. I wish
Okay.
I could smell it right now.
Don't worry, next year we'll be smelling it in person,
Yes.
hopefully. I'm already planning for next year's Africa Day. So I'm gonna transfer these veggies on the side because there was extra. And then get this. Put this here.
So Blessing says, Ruth, I'm taking the next available bus to Limerick. I have to taste this. Ruth, the African mama cook.
Please do come.
No, it
Okay.
looks very appetizing and very nice. I wouldn't think that beans would be something that you could like, I just thought of beans as like breakfast food.
Yeah.
Toast, eggs, done.
Yes, eggs done, bread, but no, it can do a lot of things.
Wow.
A lot. Okay, so now this is baby cabbage. Some would use, last time I used the kale, okay? So you can use baby cabbage or the kale. So I just break it down and then
we're washing it. Okay.
yes.
And then do we chop it or we?
Yes, we'll be chopping it. But there's one thing that I want you to be aware of before I start chopping. Do you see this edge? This is not nice when you're eating. So I just do this. I'm not sure if you're able to see this.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, just do this. Remove these because they create, like, it makes it feel like you're eating cabbage, and it's not nice.
Is it
And the reason why I did not chop these earlier on before I started, I wanted to show you this special thing that as a woman growing up in Southern African countries, if you can't cut veggies like this, if you can't do something like this, you'll be questioned of your skills as a wife to be. So first, you just remove this, and then it has to be really neat, I'm not sure. I'm sure the professional chefs will do this, but everyone at home who wants a husband, if I was to put it like that, would most likely brag about this. I know that for some people, it's not something big or anything like that. It's just cutting veggies. What's so special about it? But for you to actually hold the knife and be able to align it and make it look stringy and stuff like that, that creates a homely feeling, I'm going to eat something that's neat, that looks representable even before it's even cut, I've seen the way they say cabbage and let's say chicken, stuffed chicken and cabbage. It's like they just took cabbage and they do this to it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed myself, I'm starting to gain some Irish culture as well. I'll put it in the freezer, let
Yeah.
it ice, and then take it out and just
Break it.
pinch it a bit. I'm adopting, you see. I'm becoming Irish slowly but surely. Yeah, so the beef is on the stove, okay? It's gonna take a minute, so I'm not going to go back to the beef. I'm just gonna finish up this. And then what I'll do next is make pap, okay? Pap, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's Zimbabwean and South African staple food. So if there is no pap, it's like there is no rice here or there is no potato, you know? So our staple food is pap. It's just grounded corn, okay? So it's white, it's just grounded corn and it's soft. Some people, they call it steamed porridge. So it's a bit of porridge, but a hardened porridge, if I was to put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Anyone who's having any questions?
Yeah, let me look at the chat box to see if there's any questions.
No problem.
Just some comments from Blessing saying thank you to the Sanctuary team. Yeah, we both work in the Sanctuary team at the University of Limerick, so it's great to see that Blessing, one of the students, was here too.
Oh, that's really
But,
nice.
yeah, the food looks amazing. So we've chopped it finally. The beef
Yes.
is frying. So with the vegetable, are you frying that or boiling it or?
I'm not going to be boiling it. I'm going to be adding it into this.
Oh,
This
that's
is beef.
good.
Yeah, so I'm just going to change the pot because that one is a bit too small to be frying in it. So, and that's a non-stick pot. So it won't really work properly with my cooking. I like to make my meat to be brown and look nicer, you know. So if you are cooking or if you want to make a beef stew, it has to at least have a little bit of goldness in it. So I'm going to transfer this in here. So this is brown. Do you see what I meant about the making it brown already? So when I'm frying it, it's going to be already red. It's going to be already brown, sorry. So it makes my job a bit easier. And this pot cannot really fry because it's a non-stick, so it cannot turn it into gold or brown.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I always do that, getting the flavor back. Getting the flavor back.
Understands what I mean.
I do that with tomato jars as well. I'm like, put a tiny bit of water.
Yes, exactly.
So John says pap, is it miele? Miele, I'm saying that wrong. Meal for South African.
Pap and?
Mielie. Is it a meal?
Mealie
Mealie meal.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to use this pot for our pap so that I do not burn myself and I do not show a bit of bad demonstration. So what I'll do now is just wipe my stuff and have it clean a bit because the next part will be a bit messy. So let me do that now.
Yes, very good cook. All cook always keeps their cleaning station clean. This is very good. Very good practice right now, guys.
Oh God, it's nice to, when you're cooking, I practice to clean while I'm cooking at the same time because when I'm full, I honestly don't want to move even a leg.
Yeah.
I just want to sit there and look at the dishes. So I usually, when I'm cooking, I make sure that it's clear on the table so that when I'm lazy, at least I know that if I was to sleep, I'll only sleep with one dish on the sink.
Yeah, no, that's very good. I hate the feeling when you don't do that. And then you're like in a food coma and then you look at the kitchen and you're like, oh.
Exactly, it just depresses you after a long meal. So I'm going to boil the kettle, but before I do that, I'm going to add a half of a cup, okay, of this.
Mhm.
And add warm water onto it. Okay. And this. Oh God, the last time I did a demonstration with this, there's this guy, and I was telling him, okay, now you have to use a spoon, a wooden spoon. He's like, oh, but I was just using that for meat. I'm like, yes, you were using that for meat, but please do wash it and don't just add it onto the other one. But I'm going to boil the water for now, okay? And add it onto the thing when it's boiling. It's at a boiling point.
Okay, that sounds good. A lot of people, they compartmentalize. They're like, okay, a spoon for this, spoon for that, a spoon for this. It's just wash the spoon and then use it for the other thing instead of adding more dishes.
The nice part about it is that the camera can lie, okay? It might look good, and I'm happy that no one has to taste it, but I trust my skills enough. I trust them. My mother will be proud right now, so I know that I'm making her proud somewhere in part of this world. So you make it a bit of like you're just mixing dough, you know, when everyone has become a professional baker ever since COVID hit. So I'm sure you would know how to mix this, you know. Oh God, this was not fun.
Blessing says that she's already imagining eating the meal with her imagination.
That's good. Keep your imagination, but let's hope you have at least proper lunch for yourself, okay?
Well, yeah, that looks good. And do you keep stirring on the heat? Is that correct? Ooh, I think we lost Ruth. Maybe there was a connection issue, but that's okay. I might pop her a quick message, or maybe it's my connection issue. I hope not. But oh, okay. I think we lost Ruth, guys. So I think I'm just gonna quickly message to see if there's an issue. But meanwhile, while I'm doing that, actually, I can present to you all some of the one of the events that we have later on. And oh, we are back.
Hi.
We lost you for a second. So
Oh God, I could still hear you. I could still hear you.
No problem, no problem. No problem. I was just presenting one of the events that we have later on as well. And it is with in collaboration with Afropop City. So Afropops, it's a music event. So it's sort of like a Africa Day closing party, let's say. So Afropop City is a Limerick-based collective and event organizers who kind of exemplify and amplify the voices of Afro-Irish and African artists who their music genre is Afrobeat, hip hop, R&B, dance hall, and dancers as well, actually. So we collaborated with them in order to make sort of like a Zoom live event where it's going to be fun. There's going to be dancers in the live. There's going to be questions asked from the audience. We're going to have artists, Afro-Irish artists, up-and-coming artists, coming in the event to show their own music and their music moving forward. So artists such as Joyce Sachs, she's a Limerick-based young Limerick-based artist, Afro-Irish artist, and she's just going to be showing some of the work. There's other artists, they're slipping out of my mind right now, that are going to be taking part. But that event is on from 7 to 9 p.m. this evening. So actually, let me add it to the link to the event. I'll show you the poster now. The link to the event, I will add. You can find it on Afropop City's link tree, which I will add here. So that's just the poster to the event, and then the link tree I will add. So that's just going to be events just closing, really exemplifying. There's a huge hip hop scene in Limerick, as you're probably aware. But a lot of the music and hip hop and things like that, a lot of it comes from Afrobeat as well, which it comes from Africa, which is like an amalgamation of African rhythm vibes and hip hop mixed together. So that's what Afro Pop City do in terms of getting the music out there and really showing the buzzing hip hop and Afrocentric music that exists in Limerick and in Ireland and more generally. So Ruth, how are we going in terms of the pap? Is this thickening
so I'm just going to slowly add the water, okay? Stirring.
Awesome.
Okay, this is going to be light and it's going to be burning me. I know that for a fact. I could feel it when I'm mixing it all together. Okay. And interesting enough, I can't find my lid for the pot. Okay, so you mix until you make sure that it's not creating any lumps or it's not becoming too hard. But you can see it's not too hard really, but it has a bit of lumps on it. You see, this is what I meant when I said it's gonna burn me. So I'm just gonna use this for a minute. Okay. Until I find my lid. I don't know where did I put it, but it's somewhere here. So you let it sit like this and you reduce the stove to 4, okay? And then you let it sit for like maybe 5 to 7 minutes. Let it cook, okay? Ouch!
Careful. That's hot.
As much as I thought.
So you let it sit for 5 minutes while it's cooking. No stirring, no nothing?
No, there won't be any stirring. There won't be anything moving. You just wait for it to create, to be well cooked, like you cooking porridge. I don't know if here in Ireland would you cook porridge from maize meal. I know most of the porridge here it's instant porridge, but you would use this to create porridge, sorry. So you can add lemon onto this when it's doing like this, and then you can have it for breakfast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so some people would not have cereal, or you just feel like having a porridge. So when we say porridge, sometimes, most of the time in Southern African countries, we mean this grounded corn, soft grounded corn, and we just cook it for like maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah. Let it be soft, so that it's nice. And then some people might add salt and sugar.
Salt,
and
sugar,
then they add, and then put peanut butter into it, so it becomes peanut butter porridge. Some people might add lemon and sugar, then it becomes porridge. So that's how it works. So that's why I'm saying this is staple food, because you can have it in the morning, you can have it in the evening as well. But in the morning, it will be something sweet. In the evening, it'll be more like it has to be served with something else.
Nice. That sounds really good. I would imagine that it's like very, in my head, it looks like something very heavy that you couldn't really eat for breakfast. But after your explanation, it seems like it can be.
Like you see, if you look at this, it's like, I know it's a bit hard here, but it will be softer than this. It will be dripping like this if it's meant to be porridge, So you just keep on mixing it like this. And some people, they have very different ways to cooking it. Some they add cooking oil, a bit of salt and sugar, peanut butter with sugar, peanut butter, salt and sugar. So it's up to you what you feel like having on that morning.
That sounds really good. I'm getting really hungry just watching you go. I was saying beforehand that I hadn't eaten lunch yet, so I'm just like watching the food and getting.
Oh, sorry.
But it's good. It's
You
more.
must go out and get yourself some lunch.
Yes.
There should be an African shop, they should create someone should come up with a business to save African food, but it's a bit hard with all these regulations that people have
There
about
is
food and
actually
stuff like that.
There is actually one developing, and I could even talk to some people after about getting more southern dishes in. But there, a friend of mine, he's actually creating a takeout or takeout now, but after COVID in-house dining in Limerick. It's called, their business is called, so they started off as just like a home business, takeaway food. He's Nigerian, so takeaway food for from home, but they're actually developing an actual restaurant called Afro Delight that that really,
is it working at the moment? Are they delivering food?
they aren't delivering food because they're renovating the building for the restaurant itself.
Okay.
So they're planning to actually have it open by the time we get back into society, gets back going. So
that's nice.
yeah, so it's nice. So it's really developing. There's a huge gap in terms of people just having, because African food, okay, I'm just biased.
Yes. No, it's not. Like, honestly,
African food is like it's delicious.
Like what I miss, like with African food, I was talking to John Lennon at some point when we're still trying to figure the book out, and I was explaining that when you eat with your hands, you're saying that I'm free, I'm comfortable, I'm homely. But here it is a different connotation. You are saying you don't have manners. I'm like,
Literally.
all of this, I'm like, you have to use your hands. If for us, it's a different way. If you use fork and knife on this, you can, but you are seen as a snob. You think that you're better than everyone else. So it's weird how they Western think of hands as something that you're not educated. You are more like, low life kind of thing. But when it comes to us, when you eat like that, we think that, oh, how can you eat pop with fork and knife? Like it doesn't look real. Like you're missing something. There is that part where you like, when you lick a bit of your fingers.
It's one of those dishes where you like, just I totally understand you, like, and coming from a Nigerian background, like there's certain dishes that we eat with our hands, and it's just, for me, it's normal. And just see people are like eating it with a fork, like, what are you doing? That's not normal.
Yes.
You think you're better than us? Why are you eating with the
Exactly.
fork? Usually people like, I just don't want to get my hands dirty, but it's like, wash your hand and start eating.
Okay, so now I'm going to add the mealie meal slowly. So this is called mealie meal, by the way. Maize meal. Some people say we call it mealie meal, but it's maize meal. It's grounded corn, just white grounded corn, not the yellow one. There is the yellow one, but I truly don't like it. I'm not sure. Some of you might be familiar with semolina.
Oh, I love semolina.
Yes, it's the same with semolina, just the white one. This is the white version of semolina. You see? So one trick that when I was demonstrating the first time, people don't know how to hold this. I was surprised. They want to hold it like this. No, you're gonna break your neck. So you have to press your thumb here and then push it like this, you see? So that you're squashing all the possible acne pimples that want to come out here.
Has to be smooth.
Yes, exactly.
You actually build up like strength, actually mixing.
Yes, this is a bit of a gym,
Yeah.
It's a bit of a gym on its own. So you add meal and until it's a bit solid, okay? My stew is almost ready that side, so it's the timing. Just a tiny little bit.
So the vegetable, we're adding that at the end.
Yes, almost when I'm done frying the meat. So I know some people be like, that's dangerous, but that's how you can actually not burn yourself.
Mhm. Some of the food, I'm just thinking, like some of the food that we even cook, like from my culture, it's like it's really dangerous. You just have to like not man up, but it's like, damn, this is very
it's brown, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit of water instead of cleaning the pot, okay? I'm going to add a tiny little bit of water so that that thing, the brown thing, melt. Okay.
Mhm.
Just give it a moment and then all of it will be out. And I'm going to reduce my stove back to 4 for the beef so that I can fry it properly and not burn it. So you see the thing that it does, instead of you cleaning the pot, making it, saying that, oh, I've burned it. You haven't actually burned it. You've just created a nice brown gravy. I don't know if you can see it. Can you?
We can, yeah, the juices.
Yeah. You've just created a nice brown gravy. So you don't burn it, you don't clean that up. Just going to put it back, add a little bit of oil, okay? Now you're going to fry it.
Amazing. And I imagine I call it juices, but it's basically like stock. I said I call it juices, but it's the stock of the meat. So the stock is going to add flavor to eventually the sauce itself. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't add salt. I don't make my life complicated. But if I do not have the Maggi, I do use salt. But because it's salty enough to make salt itself, I use 3 or 4 of it, depending with the portion that I have on the pot.
Quantity.
But yeah, so I just use 3 here because it's not much. But I know I'm gonna add 1 after I've added the veggies because it needs its own salt as well.
Break down. That sounds really amazing, and I can almost smell it from.
I'm not sure if I have seen any beef in Ireland this brown. So this is how I create my beef. That's how I want it. So when I see beef being white or anything like that, I'm like, I wish I can just go into your kitchen and fry it a little bit, but yeah. So now I'm going to add the tomatoes. Oh.
So we're frying the tomatoes alongside the beef. Nice. That looks amazing. Do we want the tomatoes to like break down, or do we want them to still keep their shape? Because I know tomatoes, when you kind of fry them, they break down a lot into like nothingness.
I want them to be very, very soft, to be gravy kind of type of thing. So that when I add the veggies, okay? So these veggies, I should have soaked them a while ago, but I'm just gonna put them in here, okay? I know I rinsed them, but now I'm adding hot water so that they can be soft.
Soften, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. And at home you use a lot of, if you noticed, I'm not sure, but most of the time when our hands from Southern African countries, they are quite hard because most of the hot things, like if you see something here, you're most likely to just do this and instead of using a cloth or something like that. So I just remembered this because I put my hand in boiling water and it felt very, very hot. But it's something normal that you just use your hands on everything. And then you'll be like, oh, I burned myself. But that really is something that's quite normal, you know?
It reminds me.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like my mom growing up. Like she would just take things out of the oven with her hands, and I'm like, "Are you not burning yourself?"
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. So I'm going to mix this again. Okay. You can see now it's solid. You know.
nice.
Okay, so now I'm going to strain the water from the veggies, okay? And
so is it softened to the point that's obviously it's edible because it's vegetables, but what kind of texture do we want it at this point?
from the water, is it? Most of the time for it to be so that you do not spend 10 minutes trying to cook it, you know, using the stove, but it's soft to the point. This is what I wanted it to create. You see this? So
the soft to the point that you don't have to cook it with the
yes.
Yeah, and then overcook the meat and things like yeah, I get you.
Exactly.
I get it. Oh, that looks nice.
The tomato gravy is going to help cook that, so I don't have to add water because there's already a little bit of moisture in it. Okay. I'm not going to close that because it's cabbage. Cabbage, if you close it, it forms a lot of water. So I'm gonna cook it while it's open, okay?
You don't want to turn it like sludge.
Sorry?
You don't want to turn it into like mush.
Yes, exactly.
I've made that mistake myself of like overcooking something to the point where it turns to mush.
Oh God, it's really, you know, when you tell yourself today, I feel like having something very nice and you put all the effort. I tried to make steamed bread, I think 2 weeks ago. You know, I spent, I think, almost 2 hours waiting for it to be okay, but only to find out that I think I added too much butter. So it kept on being smooshy. I'm like, oh God. I wanted this so badly with oxtail, you know? But
yeah. Oh, I love oxtail.
You do?
I love oxtail, yeah. My mom makes it a lot, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Really nice.
I love oxtail. I even go to the shops, to the African shop or the Asian shop almost every Thursday to see if they have it. So I'm adding a little bit of chili because really meat here is a bit, anyway. What I've noticed with African countries, we don't use too much spices, but we do, but not too much. We use most of the time, we want something to be a bit chili, more than spicy, you know? Yeah. That's what makes us a bit different from the Indian community or Asian community, because they have all these coriander and all stuff like that. Or should I say the southern side, or maybe it's just my family, but I actually like spicy, and I like chili, or not spicy, but chili food more than I would say spices. I wouldn't use most of the spices. I just like to stick to one because I'm confusing my tongue if I use too many spices. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. You like the heat.
Yes.
The heat, that me, myself included. So the heat is just it's a nice kick.
Exactly.
The food, not too spicy, because sometimes you just can't like breathe. But You just need it.
You just start seeing yourself doing it.
Yeah.
And I have a glass of water.
And then you could feel it in your body. You're like, oh.
Exactly. It's really burning you out.
That's the too spicy range, but a nice kick is really nice in food, and I love adding spice to everything I cook in general.
How often do you cook mamobo?
This month, not very much because I've been flat out busy. But in general, I like to cook probably every second day and then keep the leftovers for the next day. And
do you find it comfortable?
Excuse me?
Do you find it comfortable to eat the leftovers from yesterday?
Yeah.
The following day?
Yeah, usually before COVID, with COVID, I've had a lot more time to cook. So that's why I'm cooking every second day. But before COVID, I used to like bulk cook my food for the weekdays and just cook like 2 or 3 different things. And then like either put it in the fridge, put it in the freezer, and then just eat that, because otherwise I'd be just eating out because I wouldn't have time. So I really enjoy cooking. I need to cook more African dishes, to be honest, because I need to learn the food from my heritage, but it is a learning curve.
That's interesting, because for me, I used to think that when I get my own space where I live alone and all stuff like that, I would literally make sure that I cook 5 meals for the whole week since I'm going to college. Then I found myself, if I cook like maybe for 3 days, most likely that I won't eat that food. It will stay there the whole week.
Really?
Because I'm like, I can't. I've tried, but I can't really do this pre-meal thing or whatsoever. I want something fresh almost every day. And if I cook something today, I want to eat it and finish it. I cooked liver, I think, on Sunday. Told myself I'm going to eat it again on Monday, but it's still in the fridge. I haven't eaten it because I'm like, can I just get something else and then I'm gonna have it? Then 3 days later, it's just going to be off.
Yeah. Oh no. For me, I could eat. I do the smell test, so I just open it. Good. Yeah, it's good. Throw it in the microwave. That's how I eat my leftovers.
I have lunch tins in the fridge that have been there for almost 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
That I keep on saying I'm going to make food. I'm going to make sure that I use this. I'm going to make sure. I know that in the next week or so, I'll be throwing them out. Okay. So we are nearly done. I hope I didn't take too much of people's time. And I'm just going to do a dish-up demonstration of how in our African home or at home we'll dish this thing up. Okay. Let me first clear this pot.
Again, keep your area clear and clean.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
One thing that I hate is cleaning stuff after cooking pap.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying because the maize meal gets stuck like flour, when you're cleaning flour.
Wow.
Yeah, but at least it's not that bad like the way flour is, but it's almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been baking?
Baking, as in dessert?
Yeah. Anything, scones or anything like
Oh
that?
my goodness. Me this time last year, it was banana bread. I think everyone had their banana bread phase. But I know myself, because I actually have a very big sweet tooth, and I know if I bake, I will just eat everything. So, and I'm actually quite good at baking, but I know if I bake it, I will literally, because there's not really that many people here with me, so I'm going to eat all of it.
All of it by yourself.
Exactly. So I don't bake as much as I want to. But do you bake? Oh, that looks amazing.
So that's the beef. It's still brown,
Mhm.
and I hope there is salt. Okay, I need to add a tiny little bit. I forgot to add the Maggi. So to be on the safe side, I'm just going to add a bit of salt.
Mhm.
The aim of not adding water is to make sure that it's not changing the veggies to be brown instead of green. And
Yeah.
also that's the other reason why I do not close it, so that it does not turn it brown. So it stays green, it still looks appetizing, you know. So that's pretty much it. And you can see the tomatoes are now just like small, tiny little bit of veggies.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to get out of it. So it
That-
seems
that
like it looks
amazing.
good, and I hope it tastes good. So I'm going to mix this for the last time. And I cook this using a non-stick because it's easier to wash. But if you're to use this pot, trust me, you have to soak it for like almost an hour for it to be okay.
Yeah.
So the non-stick, you can just peel it off from it.
Amazing. I'm getting so hungry now just watching.
So what I'm doing is I'm going to chop, okay? I'm using the rice cooker spoon or any rubber spoon so that it does not stick onto the thing, okay? And then, so this differs with family to family or culture to culture, but for us, for any family member, like an elderly person, you need to make sure that you shape this, mold it together, and then turn it if it's you're serving it on one plate.
Wow.
Okay, so that it looks flat and representable. So these are some of the things that you're taught when you're growing up, when you're starting your teen years. They tell you that when you're serving food, you can't have a pot when you're cooking, have a pot like this. You see, when I was telling you that you find yourself just doing this, we need to make sure that wherever you cooking, it's clean enough so that anyone who comes in, they look at the place, they're like, oh wow, I would like to see what's being cooked in there, you know. And then I'm going to add the beef here, beef and veggies. Oh, this spoon is the worst. It's the best when cooking, but the worst when you're dishing out. So I'm trying to get a little bit of veggies. So the aim of this really is there is nothing more filling when you're looking at your plate and it looks full everywhere, okay? So the African trick or my family trick is when you're dishing out, make sure that you spread the whole plate. Let me wipe this. Okay. So you spread the meat so that the person, when they're looking, they're like, oh, okay, this looks very full.
Oh.
You know, it makes them think that the food is full. That actually removes that thing. Oh, they dish me less food, you know. It removes that mentality in you. So that goes for everyone. I think it works with everyone. If you see your plate being full and or stuff like that, you'll be like, oh, okay. So on the side, I'm going to add our chakalaka. As I told you that you can serve it with anything. So you can have it on the side. And this is your dinner.
Awesome.
Yes, it's dinner, not lunch. This is too heavy for lunch anyway. So this is what some of the things that we'll be cooking or that we have on our recipe book.
That's amazing. And where can we get that? That looks so amazing, Ruth. I'm literally salivating. I'm salivating.
Okay.
It looks
I'm glad you are.
But that's amazing. And again, everyone, that's a part of the Restart Cookbook. Ruth, where can we find this cookbook?
So it's going to be out in the next week or two, hopefully. There will be, or if you look out on our social media page, Restart Ireland, the island, it's IRL, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find out all the details that you need. We'll be promoting it shortly. We have done a demo with other students. So it's most likely that it will be out. We're just waiting for the final touch-ups on the book, but it will be out soon. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
the full update will be on our social media page.
Awesome, awesome. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ruth, for having this a wonderful demonstration. It really it was delightful to just really watch you, and hopefully in the future we can have one in person or we can actually taste them, because that's the best.
This is what I wanted to create. You see, when you're picking it up, it's hanging a bit, you know, and then you do it.
Oh, that looks so good.
Thank you so much, Mabobo, for having me, and Brian and everyone else who helped to organize this. I really appreciate it, and all the attendees. It's been great.
It's been great. Thanks a million. So guys, we have more events later on, and I put the link for Restart and Durrus, and I put the link for Afropop City for the event later on. But thank you so much, Ruth, again for doing this for us. And I really hope everyone has a wonderful Africa Day and attends all the other sort of online events that are coming on there. So thank you again, Ruth. Thank you again, Durrus Skirm, for hosting this event, and we'll see you again later.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Happy Africa Day, everyone.
Africa Day.